Life has a funny way of making you feel small, doesn't it? I'm Derek Spencer, a nobody trapped in the endless grind of a corporate job that barely pays the bills. Every day, I sit in my cubicle, staring at spreadsheets while dreaming of a life where I'm more than just another cog in the machine. But dreams don't pay mortgage, do they? My wife, Maria, on the other hand, is everything I'm not: confident, successful, and breathtakingly beautiful. She's one of those women, the kind who turns heads when she walks into a room. A Victoria's Secret model with millions of followers online, her career was the stuff of legends, while mine, well, let's just say no one would write a book about it. The worst part? Everyone knew how lucky I was to have her. Friends, family, even strangers, they all gushed about how perfect we were together. But what they didn't know was the gnawing emptiness inside me. Every time Maria posed for a photo shoot or signed autographs for fans, I felt smaller, less significant. It was as if her success cast a shadow over my failures, reminding me every single day of what I wasn't. And so I made a decision, a desperate, foolish decision that would change everything. I started selling her pictures online without her knowing. Private shots, candid moments, anything I could get my hands on. At first, it was just a trickle of cash here and there, enough to make me feel like I finally had some control over my pathetic existence. But soon, greed took hold. I convinced myself that this was the only way out of my mediocre life, the only way to prove to the world and to Maria that I wasn't worthless. What could go wrong? After all, no one needed to know. It was harmless, right? But oh, how wrong I was. Little did I know, this reckless act would set off a chain reaction that would destroy everything I held dear. It all started with a seemingly innocent meeting, a performance review, or so I thought. Mr. Broderick, my boss, had summoned me to his office under the guise of discussing my long overdue promotion. The air was thick with tension as I sat across from him, my palms sweating and my heart pounding in anticipation. He began politely enough, complimenting my work ethic and dedication. But then came the twist that would seal my fate. "Derek," he said with a sly smile, "I was honestly planning to turn you down for this raise. But after meeting Maria," his voice trailed off, leaving the implication hanging like a noose around my neck. My stomach churned as he leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with something unspoken. "Let's just say we might have some common ground to explore." At first, I pretended not to understand, laughing nervously and brushing it off as a joke. But Broderick wasn't joking, not entirely. Later that week, he invited me to an exclusive dinner at a high-end restaurant, insisting it was a private discussion. Over glasses of expensive wine, he revealed the full extent of his proposition. "If your wife were to model for one of our private projects," he suggested, his tone dripping with insincerity, "you could be set for life, rich beyond your wildest dreams." The words hit me like a freight train. I should have walked away right then and there, but desperation clouded my judgment. Instead, I nodded along, pretending to consider his offer while secretly plotting my own scheme. If Broderick wanted leverage, I'd give him what he craved, but on my terms. That night, I went home and began snapping covert photos of Maria. She trusted me implicitly, never suspecting that her own husband would betray her in such a vile way. I told myself it was temporary, just until I secured my position at the company. But greed is a slippery slope, and soon I found myself selling those photos to anonymous buyers online, funneling the money into secret accounts. Little did I know, this reckless act would spiral out of control faster than I could imagine. The photos started as a trickle, then turned into a flood. What began as a few covert snapshots of Maria soon spiraled out of control. Derek, blinded by greed and desperation, took things to another level. He began forging her signature on digital releases for the images he sold. He convinced himself that no one would ever find out. After all, these were just harmless pictures posted on obscure websites hidden in the dark corners of the internet. But Derek underestimated both the reach of social media and the sharp eyes of Maria's fans. One evening, while scrolling through his secret online account, Derek noticed something alarming. A handful of Maria's private photos had leaked onto mainstream platforms. The captions accompanying them range from speculative, "Is this Maria Carter, the Victoria's Secret angel?" to outright cruel, "Guess even models have secrets." Within hours, hashtags like hashtag Maria Exposed and hashtag Model Scandal were trending across Twitter and Instagram. Thousands of comments poured in, dissecting every detail: her pose, her outfit, even her supposed hidden life. Worse still, people began connecting the dots back to Derek. Someone recognized him as Maria's husband and tagged his profile in multiple posts, accusing him of exploiting his wife for personal gain. As if that wasn't enough, Derek discovered an even darker twist. During a routine meeting at work, he overheard Mr. Broderick bragging about a new marketing campaign designed to promote the company's exclusive line of luxury products. To Derek's horror, Broderick casually mentioned how they'd secured exclusive rights to some high-profile imagery featuring a well-known model. When Derek asked for clarification, Broderick smirked knowingly and revealed the truth. The photos Derek had been selling weren't just being used. Privately, they were now plastered across billboards, magazine spreads, and social media ads. "You didn't think I'd let such valuable assets go to waste, did you?" Broderick said with a chilling laugh. "Your wife is quite the sensation. Sales are skyrocketing." Derek felt sick to his stomach. Not only had he violated Maria's trust, but he'd also inadvertently made her the face of a sleazy corporate scheme. Every time someone saw those ads, they thought of Maria not as a talented professional, but as a pawn in a scandalous game orchestrated by her own husband. Derek knew there was no way to undo what he'd done. His betrayal had grown roots deeper than he could ever imagine, spreading far beyond anything he'd planned. And yet, despite the chaos brewing around him, Derek clung to denial. He told himself it was temporary, that once the buzz died down, everything would return to normal. But deep down, he knew better. This wasn't just a storm, it was a hurricane, and when it hit, nothing would be left standing. Maria had always been accustomed to attention. As a Victoria's Secret angel and a regular face on the covers of Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar, she was no stranger to paparazzi or adoring fans. But nothing could have prepared her for what happened during what should have been an ordinary trip to the grocery store. She was standing in the produce aisle, picking out avocados, when a young woman approached her, starstruck. "Oh my God, you're Maria Carter, right?" The fan gushed, pulling out her phone for a selfie. At first, Maria smiled graciously, posing as she always did. But then the fan hesitated, her expression shifting from excitement to something darker. I don't mean to be rude," the woman began cautiously, "but are those pictures online really you? The ones everyone's talking about?" Maria froze, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. "What pictures?" she asked, though deep down she already knew. Her mind raced with fragmented memories, the private moments Derek claimed he needed photos for safekeeping, the strange way he'd been acting lately, the late-night calls he thought she hadn't noticed. Could it be possible? Was he capable of such betrayal? The fan showed her the screen, scrolling through comments and hashtags that left Maria feeling nauseous. There she was, her body unmistakable, even without her face fully visible, posed and intimate, settings she had never consented to sharing. The captions ranged from speculative, "Is this real?" to cruel, "Guess models sell more than just lingerie these days." Maria's hands trembled as she handed back the phone, muttering a quick apology before rushing out of the store. On the drive home, her mind spiraled into chaos. How could this happen? Who had taken those photos? And why did they look so familiar? By the time she pulled into the driveway, suspicion had crystallized into certainty. Derek. It had to be him. No one else had access to those private moments, or so she had thought. Her stomach churned as she imagined him sneaking around behind her back, selling pieces of her life for his own gain. When she walked through the door, Derek was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone with a guilty look that confirmed everything. "We need to talk," Maria said, her voice trembling with barely contained fury. Little did she know, this confrontation would only scratch the surface of the nightmare awaiting her. It was a message that would shatter Maria's world. Late one night, as she scrolled through her phone, a notification popped up from an anonymous social media account. The subject line read, "Proof your husband is selling you." Her heart raced as she opened the message, only to be confronted with screenshots of private photos. She had never consented to being shared alongside contracts bearing what appeared to be her forged signature. Beneath the images were hundreds of comments, each more venomous than the last. What kind of model sells herself like this? Poor Derek, married to such a gold digger. Guess even angels fall. Maria's hands trembled as she stared at the evidence, her vision blurring with tears. She scrolled further and found links to multiple websites where her images were being sold, accompanied by descriptions that reduced her to nothing more than an object for sale. Worst of all, she discovered a fake endorsement contract signed in her name, authorizing the use of her likeness for a sleazy marketing campaign. It felt like a dagger to her soul, a betrayal so deep it left her gasping for air. She collapsed onto the floor, clutching her chest, as waves of nausea threatened to overwhelm her. When Derek walked into the room moments later, he froze at the sight of Maria sitting on the ground, her face pale and streaked with tears. "Maria?" he whispered, his voice laced with panic. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She repeated, her voice shaking with fury. "You tell me what's wrong, Derek." She thrust her phone toward him, the screen displaying the damning evidence. "Explain this. Explain how you sold me out." Derek's face drained of color as he realized the truth had finally caught up with him. He stammered, grasping for words. I didn't mean for it to go this far," he began, his voice cracking under the weight of guilt. "I just wanted us to have a better life, Maria. I wanted to provide for you, to make sure we were secure." "Secure?" She spat, her voice rising to a shout. "You think humiliating me online is providing? You think forging my signature and turning my body into some twisted commodity makes our family stronger? How dare you justify this?" Her words cut deeper than any knife could. Derek tried to step closer, reaching out as if to comfort her, but she recoiled violently. "Don't touch me," she screamed, backing away. "You don't get to touch me after what you've done. Do you realize what this will do to my career? To my reputation? People are mocking me, Derek. They're calling me a liar, a horror because of you." "I'm sorry," Derek pleaded, his voice breaking. "I thought I was doing the right thing. I swear I never meant to hurt you." But Maria wasn't listening anymore. Her mind was consumed by a storm of emotions, anger, betrayal, shame. Every word he spoke sounded hollow, meaningless. "Get out," she said finally, her voice cold and steady despite the turmoil inside her. "Get out of my sight." The fallout was swift and merciless. Derek's world unraveled the moment Mr. Broderick stormed into the office, his face contorted with rage. "You lied to me," Broderick bellowed, slamming a printed screenshot of Maria's legal notice onto Derek's desk. The document accused both Derek and the company of exploiting her image without consent. Worse still, the entire office had seen it courtesy of an anonymous social media post that went viral overnight. The caption read, "Meet Derek Spencer, the man who sold his wife's body for profit." Derek's stomach churned as he scanned the room. His colleagues avoided eye contact, their faces a mix of disgust and pity. Some whispered behind their hands. Others openly mocked him. Broderick didn't mince words. "You've disgraced this company," he spat. "Pack your things and leave. You're fired." Just like that, Derek's career and his dignity was in ruins. But the nightmare didn't end there. Later that evening, Derek received a formal letter from Maria's lawyer. She wasn't just divorcing him, she was suing him for violating her privacy. The lawsuit also named Broderick's company, accusing them of using her photos for a covert marketing campaign. Derek sat on the edge of his bed, trembling as he read the details. Maria had hired one of the most ruthless attorneys in the city, someone known for dismantling corporate giants. There would be no mercy. To add insult to injury, Victoria's Secret reached out directly to Maria, not to condemn her, but to offer support. Instead of severing ties, they proposed a long-term partnership and pledged to stand by her side during the legal battle. "We believe in empowering women," the representative said over the phone. "Your case is proof that no one should exploit a woman's image without her consent." They even agreed to testify in court, providing evidence against Broderick's company and exposing their unethical practices. As Derek stared at the stack of legal documents piling up on his kitchen table, reality hit him like a freight train. He had lost everything: his job, his wife, and now, potentially, his freedom. For the first time, he realized the full weight of his betrayal. But it was too late. Maria was done letting others control her narrative. She was taking back her power, one lawsuit at a time. Standing in the courtroom, Maria's voice trembled with a mix of anger and resolve as she delivered her final statement. "My body belongs to me," she declared, her words echoing through the silent room. "No one, not my husband, not this company, not anyone has the right to exploit it without my consent." Her eyes locked onto Derek's, who sat slumped in his chair, defeated and pale. She continued, her tone unwavering despite the storm of emotions inside her. "I built my career on hard work, talent, and trust. But that trust was shattered because someone thought they could take what wasn't theirs." The judge listened intently as evidence unfolded, a trail of forged signatures, leaked photos, and Broderick's unethical marketing schemes. Maria's lawyer argued passionately, emphasizing how Derek's betrayal had violated not just her privacy but also her dignity. "This case isn't just about one woman," the attorney stated firmly. "It's about every woman who has ever been told their body is a commodity for others to control. It's about reclaiming autonomy." Derek wanted to disappear. He watched helplessly as Victoria's Secret representatives took the stand, testifying against his actions and supporting Maria's fight for justice. The irony was suffocating. He had tried to use her image for profit, only to lose everything because of it. As Maria concluded her testimony, tears streamed down her face, but her voice remained strong. "I will not let anyone define me or my worth ever again," she said, her gaze steady. "A woman's body is hers alone. No permission slip can change that."